are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, everybody? Gene Berardelli here with you. Rick Robinson should be tagging along any minute now, and I just wanted to get on here, get the show started. Ross Galloway will be with us later. He is currently in a secret meeting that I'm not supposed to know anything about, involving his life because, he likes to be secretive and stuff about these things. But whatever, we are going to roll with it as people are rolling in right now. As you're rolling in, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button and share the show with some friends. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You could have been anywhere tonight, and I'm glad you are here with us as people are rolling in. This is pretty awesome. Tonight, we're going to be talking about basically what you see on the screen right now. This whole controversy with ex-CNN commentator, journalist, if you want to call him that, whatever, Don Lemon, and this controversy over Operation Pull-Up showing up to a church during Sunday service. I believe it was a Baptist church. But as I am vamping here, I have my friend Rick Robinson to bring in. So let's bring him in the only way we know how.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
That would be me. I'm next. How you doing? Oh, hang on. Why am I not hearing you, though?
I don't know. I was muted for a second, and then it might be the same crap that what happened last time.
Yeah, I can hear you now, so you're good.
Okay, you can hear me now? Wonderful. How you doing?
Yeah,
What's going on?
I think it auto muted whenever you played the clip, and now it doesn't auto unmute after the clip's done. That's because it used to.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out. That's a StreamYard thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? I was just letting everybody know we're gonna be talking about Don Lemon.
Don Lemon, yeah, this should be fun.
It should be a lot of fun. I got a lot of clips to go through with you guys. I got a lot of law to go through with you guys. I'm in my cozy mode after work. I got my Mr. Rogers sweater on, so this should be a little bit of fun. I hope, at least for me, anyway. I love talking about buffoons like Don Lemon. But this time,
you're doing your two favorite things. You're bashing a buffoon and talking law. You should be awesome.
I am in my glory. Again, folks, for those of you going in and out, maybe you've seen us on the shorts feed or whatever, be sure to hang out, hit the thumbs up button, like, comment, hit the chat room. We're always looking for people to join us in the chat room. Let me know what you're thinking about all this as we go along here. We also accept any super chats you may want to throw at us. You don't have to. We will take care of that as we go along with our audience. If you guys are contributing something that maybe we want to talk about, is thought-provoking or just provoking in general, we will bring it up here. So let's frame out the facts as we know it based upon the videos that are out there. We got Don Lemon broadcasting live thinking that he's Andy No or Nick Wilson or James O'Keefe. He's out there in public roaming around with a microphone and a camera, and he wants to document what's going on in Minnesota. Let's first talk about the attempted reinvention by Don Lemon in being this gonzo reporter out there. Is it working? Is it not working? What do you think?
Yeah. Nothing.
Dynamite dropping, Monty. Let's move on then. So
no, I mean nothing he did worked. He looked like a total he looked like Don Lemon.
well, let's start at the beginning here. Don Lemon's first move after leaving CNN was creating his own channel on X. He sat down to interview Elon Musk, and that went horribly. It was absolutely ridiculous. Elon called him out on it and said, the only reason I'm here is because you're broadcasting on X. He basically said his interview was crap, and it was a very inauspicious start for him.
Well, the funny thing is, if you remember when Don Lemon first stepped away from CNN, the reason Elon Musk went on his show is he was planning on offering him a 7-figure deal to be a live streamer on X. And Don Lemon messed it up in 5 minutes.
He fumbled the bag, as the kids say.
Dude, I mean, I'm telling you, I used to try to when I realized that deal fell apart and how much money he was trying to get Don Lemon just to do one show. I was like, dude, I have an entire team that would do shows for that amount of money. I'm just saying, you could pay us what you were going to pay Lemon, and I know like 10 people that would be on all the time.
On all the time with staff of 10 each as well to evenly spread it around. Folks are coming in. Guys, if you're watching the show right now, join us in the chat. We welcome your comments as we go through what happened here. I want to start at the beginning of this Sunday interference that happened at this Baptist church in Minnesota. Don Lemon met up with a woman named Nakima Levy Armstrong. She's going to introduce herself here, and we will be revisiting this later on. Listen to the organizer of this group that calls themselves Operation Pull Up describe what they are there to do at this Baptist church in Minnesota.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere.
For some reason, okay, there it is. It was a little bit of a delay on my end. I'm going to restart it so everybody can hear it.
Tell us why you're doing this.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
So there's the description from the organizer of this. We pull up, we wreak havoc. They don't expect us coming, and this is what they do. And let's watch a little bit of it just to give people a flavor of what these people were experiencing in this Baptist church in Minnesota.
Demanding justice for Renee Good and letting them know that this will not stand. They cannot pretend to be a house of God while harboring someone who is directing ICE agents to wreak havoc upon our community and who killed Renee Good, who almost killed a 6-month-old baby. Enough is enough. I am a reverend on top of being a lawyer and an activist, so I come here in the power of the Almighty God.
Come here in the power of the Almighty God. Activist, lawyer.
Wow.
I gotta use that line myself. I really gotta start proclaiming. You know what, folks? I am here as an act of God myself. I am a lawyer. I've been an activist. I'm not a reverend. I can't say that. But
I can ordain you. Then you can use the same lines.
Ooh, we'll talk about that after the show. But this now, Nakima Levy Armstrong, she keeps saying our community, not from Minnesota. Operation Pull Up was actually started back during the George Floyd riots. And so we got a chat right now from our friend, new friend here, Mike Almodovar. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. My last name is Berardelli. It gets screwed up all the time. These people must be stopped. I think that's correct because as we're going to go into, there's some law breaking going on here. Thanks for chiming in, Mike. Make sure you subscribe to the show. I have to do the grift all the time.
My only question is, which is he referring to, the protesters or ICE? Just for clarification.
Well, it doesn't matter if he just whatever. Hey, Mike said I got his last name right. That's good.
Nice.
I appreciate that.
I do want to say this though. I don't know if they realized it when they named this thing Operation Pull Up, but they basically gave themselves a theme song. I'm a big kid. Look what I can do. Okay, I'm done.
Well, considering I don't know if Nakima Levy Armstrong can do a pull-up. And by the way, he clarified in the chat, it's protesters. But you know what? I'm not going to say that because neither can I. I do want to show a little bit more, and maybe I'll just mute the volume on this.
Like the kids' things.
Not the No, I got the joke. It just wasn't as funny as mine.
Whatever.
Just going to play this in the background. This is what was going on.
They're in the middle of the church. In the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking,
complete with Don Lemon's commentary.
And Nakima stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so here we go.
You took out the lead pastor.
Yeah.
So that's Lamont's commentary on this. I don't know how much stock you can put into what he said. Go ahead.
Well, so right now I don't have an issue with what he's doing. Right now he's in the back of the church. He's documenting. He's talking to the folks that are watching him. But what he does later, yeah. Yeah.
Well, part of what he does later is he does interview some parishioners, and I do have a video of at least one of them. But before I get to that, I think I have to upload it. So the reason why Operation Pull Up was there was to protest one of the pastors of the church who they believe was working with ICE, and as Nikema Levy-Armstrong was saying, wreaking havoc in Minnesota. Don Lemon at some point ended up interviewing the pastor. I forget his name. I had it in front of me, who was there that day actually administering services. And this interaction was pretty wrong in my opinion.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live there's a Constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Now let's talk about that for a second, Rick, because we happen to be a bit of experts about the Constitution. The First Amendment applies. What? Well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I am. The First Amendment applies to whom? You have freedom of speech and freedom to assemble without interference from whom?
Typically, it's most of the time it's interference from the government.
Right, and there are certain instances where it could be a private entity doing the work of government, much like we saw with old Twitter doing the bidding of the federal government, and that ended up being, most likely, at least in my opinion, a First Amendment violation. So now when we're talking about a group of protesters walking into a church that is not owned or operated by the federal government, how does the freedom to assemble apply there?
See, this is, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to tweak that. I mean, it is definitely a disturbance, but, I mean, I think one of the ways they might be able to back channel is I'm pretty sure they're going to figure out that a lot of these people are being paid by federal tax money.
Well, I don't think that they'll be able to do that because there are other federal laws besides the Constitution that we're certainly going to be talking about. And that'll be the FACE Act.
I don't necessarily know if this is a clear 1A violation, but there are other federal laws that keep them from being able to do the things that they're doing. Now, as far as the freedom to be able to worship, they are interfering with that. But again, that was primarily designed to make sure that the colonies and eventually the first 13 American states didn't wind up with a George Washington Bible and a First Church of America, which was the primary focus of why the First Amendment was created. And nobody really talks about that part anymore. Again, they may be able to do some legal gymnastics to make it a 1A situation. I think it's going to have a lot more to do with the other laws that actually keep them from being able to do the things that they're doing. So
absolutely. Hey, folks, we got a bunch of people hanging out with us on different feeds, whether on Rumble, YouTube, X. Hit the thumbs up button if you like what you're seeing and hearing. Get into the chat with us and participate. Let me pull up this video now. This is Don Lemon with one of the parishioners outside of the church after this whole scene happened, where this Operation Pull Up entered the Baptist church, disrupted services, and this is one of the parishioners and his son leaving from the venue.
Here that wants to praise the Lord with my son, and now I got to go home. I'm sorry that you guys are so angry.
I'm just chronicling. I'm not with the group.
What do I have to say?
Can you understand why they're angry?
I don't understand any of this because I'm a simple man. I'm a simple man who loves the Lord and is a good father. So this is what we look forward to, is coming, being with our family and praising Jesus, and that's not something that we have to run away from. So
I absolutely love Middle America. Being from the People's Republic of New York City and in this area, you don't normally hear this sort of discussion from anyone, about looking forward to going to services, being with your family, praising God and all that. You don't get that here at all.
Well, that's because if they say it, they'll either burst into flames or get pummeled because they're either lying about it or somebody's not going to like what they say. So,
I recently heard a discussion. I think it was one of the Subway takes that is pretty viral online that you see. How one woman from the People's Republic of New York City was actually saying, I don't believe people are actually religious, because if saving souls were that important and that vital, people would be much more zealous in interacting with people about it. Instead, they just go about their days and they do whatever. Yeah, that's called minding your own damn business.
right?
And I wish more people would do that.
We don't know how to do that anymore, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Ball Striker. I got to take him. Oh, Ball Striker Bandito. I love the name. Don Lemon should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. We're going to be talking about the law in a little bit. Hang out with us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, pal. I'm going to be looking at some laws later on after we get some of the facts out, talking about what Don Lemon might be facing based upon the evidence that we see. Let's continue on with this interview, because Don Lemon again presses this guy who's just trying to go about his Sunday. He just had his church services disrupted. Now he's got an ex-CNN reporter who got owned by just about everyone on his show. If you remember, Vivek Ramaswamy was actually the last nail in the coffin for him. Now he's in his face after leaving his church, trying to get political with him when all the guy wants to do is go about his Sunday.
I was going to say,
we're going to heaven, so that's the best.
Go ahead, Rick. What were you about to say?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off right as you were trying to press play, but Don Lemon better be careful, because I bet you this dude's probably a little hangry.
I mean, that's kind of what I do after going to services. You go to a diner or something like that. Locally, we got some great diners around here where I live, by the way. But yeah, now, damn it, now you got me thinking about diner food. All right, while I try to manage my own hangry, let's get back to the video.
Best news we got.
Do you understand that some of these folks feel voiceless?
I don't understand because right now I'm so upset. Right now I don't really have I'm thirsty and I can't think very clearly. So what I want to do is just say we love you.
Yeah.
My son and I love you guys.
Yeah.
And
I'm a journalist. They're activists.
The simplest thing we can say is that we love you guys.
What do you mean, you guys?
Well, whoever's here in this house.
Oh.
He just tried to instigate something there, didn't he? He just tried to almost make that like an us versus them. And I don't know if the us versus them may have had a racial tinge to it, but it looked like he was trying to stoke something there. Didn't you think so?
No, that's exactly what he was trying to do. I mean, that's what he did on his show. That's why I eventually got fired. So the difference is now he's doing it in the middle of the street and might eventually get fed his teeth if he's not careful.
Well, have you watched any of his interviews that he's done on the street outside of what's been going on in Minnesota and how people have been just owning him left and right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've watched several. I talk about them all the time on the daily show that I do. And yeah, it's funny because people will just, I mean, there's a couple people that have literally looked like they just wanted to punch him in the face and they didn't do it. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been interesting because you watch him with all these, he's got all these, what he thinks are cogent talking points and people are just looking at her. I mean, there's one dude, you could actually see it on his face. If his face was a billboard, it would have said, "Are you fucking retarded?" And then, yeah, I mean, dude was just like, "No, I'm not, no. What the hell are you even talking about?" But yeah, for a while, because he was making news almost every other day for a little bit when he started his channel. He's kind of faded into irrelevancy, which is why I think he's doing this. He's trying to get himself stirred back up a little bit because I bet you his pocketbook's been a little empty lately.
I bet he's been operating at a loss, and Ball Striker Bandito is absolutely correct. Don Lemon has been a provocateur since becoming a quote-unquote journalist, and that was his job at CNN, and that's what ended up getting him some ratings until it all collapsed for him. But let's see if he'll let this guy get on with his Sunday.
We don't distinguish between Christian and non-Christian. We love everyone. We want everyone to come to heaven.
Yeah.
We want people to go to heaven.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. We want folks to go to heaven. And if we need to talk about these things, then, I mean, this isn't the time for that, really. I mean...
But don't you think until we go to heaven, if you believe in that there should be some sort of peace here on earth and that people should have agency and we shouldn't be beating people up off the street?
the great philosophizer Don Lemon trying to get ecumenical with this parishioner. If there was anyone less qualified to talk about what God wants on earth, I think Don Lemon is the least qualified person.
Can I just say I'm a little sad that there was not a lightning strike in that moment?
I mean, it's kind of hard to do in like snow and stuff, isn't it? It's got to be like blizzard conditions, I think.
There's snow lightning. It happens. It could have happened. God could have said, "Hey, you're talking for me, and I don't like that." Zap. That would have been. That would have.
Nicholas in the chat saying Don Lemonhead is going to jail. That would be great. Homosexual, racist, married to a white guy, and a little bit of a laugh there as well. I'm not here to judge Don Lemon's personal life. I don't think that that's in bounds for me anyway. People can have their opinions about him and his lifestyle. I don't judge people on their lifestyle at all. People are responsible for their own choices. And whether or not he'll be going to jail is a discussion we'll be having. Hang on, Nicholas. We're going to get to that. Like I said, first part of the show here is getting all the facts out. And let's keep on going here. See this guy's response to Don Lemon trying to reach this gentleman at his level, talking about what God would want here on earth for some reason. Let's keep going.
You should be abiding by the Constitution?
I think that's just a little bit loaded for me right now. What you're doing.
Why so?
Well, I don't want to interview right now.
Yeah,
I don't want to interview. I just want to tell you guys I love you. I don't need to interview right now because I want to be with my son. It's Sunday. It's time for rest and for renewal.
Where are they? Like in his car, he's like right on the corner. Where?
And I would like to answer your question, but I just can't right now.
Okay.
Yeah, in other words, leave me the fuck alone.
Don't ask me so many damn questions when I'm hangry.
Word. That has part of it, but I also think this guy was just like, just leave me the hell alone already here.
I know I would have.
That's not cool, you know? I mean, he wants to play gonzo journalist, and okay. Now, that's pretty much what happened the day of. And since then, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, was going on TV, seeing what happened here, mobilized the Department of Justice to investigate whether any laws were broken here. Don Lemon got wind of that, and while we're going to see some of what Harmeet Dillon had to say, here is Don Lemon preemptively responding to Harmeet right now.
And the fake news magas are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this Assistant Attorney General, I don't know, gosh, what's her name? Something Hammett, Dillon or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist.
So he's saying, I'm not with these people. He's the dealer at the blackjack table going, I'm out of it. He's got nothing to do with them. Preemptively trying to steer the government away from any sort of scrutiny that he would have. Oh boy, that comment speaks for itself right there. Yeah, his ass may have been puckering when he made that video. So yeah, that Tree Rogie just threw me off guard and maybe lose my train of thought, but that was him preemptively trying to steer the government away from him. I got nothing to do with these people, Rick. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, well, of course that's what he's trying to say. He's trying to put himself above it, but for those that have seen all of the footage that we're going to be showing today, he was definitely at several points during all of this not above it. He was right in the middle of it. There was one point where he got in the face of the pastor, and it just completely out of bounds in my opinion. I do like Karen's question. Did you get a permit? Because guarantee he probably didn't. But then again, since he's claiming First Amendment as a member of the journalistas, he probably doesn't technically need a permit. The rest of the folks, they probably would have, and I bet you they didn't have one. But
or some
then again,
or some other type of permission. Yeah, by the way, Karen Burns, thanks for that question. And I think Rick answered it pretty well. If he's claiming that he's not part of that group and he's just covering it and they were going in, he's covering news. He probably doesn't need a permit to cover news. If he's part of that group and they're disrupting everything, then that question becomes very relevant. Ordy says first in the chat. I guess he's in the other chat. He's not watching the vertical feed. He claims he's first. Ordy, you're not first.
No, it's a contract thing. He's always first, no matter what.
Oh, is this an Ordy thing? This is what he does?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. My bad, Ordy. Then you're first. I'll go along with it. So we heard what Don Lemon was saying. Now let's go to Harmeet Dillon's reaction to that particular video on the Benny Johnson show. I hope Benny doesn't copyright strike me for this, but we'll see.
Joke him if he can't.
Well, look, I mean, we have a presumption of innocence in this country, so I want to preserve my ethical duties here. But let me just say that, you know, he's a journalist. He was a journalist. I don't know what he is now, but journalism is not a badge or a shield that protects you from criminal consequences when you are part of a crime. And I think the videos show how close he was to these folks. I think further evidence will show more information about that, but he clearly knew, and he stated before going into the facility, it's on his own video, what was going to happen there. What was going to happen was a violation of federal law, federal criminal law. And I don't know what to say. I mean, the FACE Act has been out there for more than 30 years, and there were lawyers involved in this so-called protest, and their purpose was to terrorize people of faith in a house of worship. They were targeting a different pastor, not the one seen on camera, who they got information was a ICE supervisor. None of that matters. It's off limits to go into a house of worship to do your little protest. Protests can occur on public property. Protests can occur outside, you know, on a sidewalk, certain sidewalks, not all sidewalks. And this is like basic what you learn in the first year of law school. There's a time, place, and manner restrictions on the First Amendment right of protest, and they were violated here in this case. No question about it. The only question is who was involved, how many were involved, and how many charges are going to be brought here. Those are the questions.
There you have it. I mean, I couldn't have explained it better, but let's try and let's get into the nitty gritty a little bit here.
Well, hang on. Before you go into your explanation, I feel this has to be said, because you know this is a shout out to Amish for Harmeet Dillon. Totally would. Giggity giggity.
Wow. You're gonna reduce her to that, really? Come on.
I mean, tell me you wouldn't.
I'm not commenting.
That's what I thought.
I'm not commenting because I'm a respectful person.
Your silence,
colleague and fellow member of the bar.
Your silence is confirmation, sir.
All right. Well, just for you, we're going to hear a little more from Harmeet on another appearance. I believe this was on Newsmax.
For civil rights at the U.S. DOJ. Harmeet, great to have you back on. This actually, the FACE Act, this could potentially be, I mean, I think it is, a blatant violation of these people storming a church, a violation of the FACE Act.
Now, let's talk about the FACE Act for a moment, shall we? You see it on the screen right now, at least the part that is relevant. But let's talk about this. This is 18 U.S.C. Section 248. It's titled Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances, but it's not limited to clinics. Whoever, and we go to Section A2. So we start with Section A, says whoever, and then we go to Section 2. By force or threat of force, or by physical obstruction, intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with, or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully or seeking to exercise the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. And then it goes on to say later on, you don't see on the screen, but I'm going to read from the law right here, shall be subject to the penalties provided in Section B and the civil remedies provided in Section C. So there is a civil and a criminal element to this. except that if a parent or a legal guardian of a minor shall be subject to any penalties under this section for such activities insofar as they're directed exclusively at that minor. So the parents can even get in trouble if there were minors present there. And the penalties could be up to a year imprisonment if it was a first offense. If it was a second offense and there was a prior conviction for this, imprisoned for not more than 3 years, except that, and there's some exceptions there. And then civil remedies, there is a right of private action provided. Now, I do want to go into different phrases here. Certain ones, like physical obstruction in this particular term, means rendering impassable ingress to or egress from a facility. We can go further into definitions, talk about intimidation. When they mention intimidate, the word intimidate means to place a person in reasonable apprehension of bodily harm to his or herself or to others. Another term of art that we should be aware of here in this passage would also be interfere with. Interfere with in this context means to restrict a person's freedom of movement. That's probably the most applicable to this portion of the law, Rick. Before we get to Harmeet Dillon's commentary here, what do you think about that?
I mean, I couldn't say it any better than our new friend in the chat just put it. These folks check all of the boxes of 18 U.S.C. 248. That, I mean, they did all of those things. I mean, other than, they didn't, as far as I know, cause any injury, but they did in fact physically obstruct, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise any First Amendment right of religious freedom. So, I mean, to me, that seems like it's going to be a slam dunk by the time it's all said and done. And it's a good thing it's a federal charge. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't be going anywhere. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we'll see where it goes, but let's get Harmeet Dillon's take on the question asked while she was on Newsmax.
You're absolutely correct. The Attorney General reached out to me about this yesterday when I was on an airplane, and before I landed, we'd already scrambled the jets and gotten prosecutors assigned to this, as well as reached out to the FBI and had agents assigned, and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minneapolis assigned to this. Mm-hmm. So there are already several law enforcement officials working on this as of yesterday evening. What people need to understand about the timing of arrests is we're a little bit different than the state prosecutors, who are, I think, frankly, refusing to do their jobs at this point. I have to get federal judges to sign off on arrest warrants before I can arrest somebody. So today's a federal holiday. And if it weren't, we have, certain slow rolling of things we're doing there, but we will get there. I have seen enough video and evidence at this point to believe that what we saw and what we're seeing on the screen there is multiple violations of, at a minimum, the FACE Act, as well as other federal statutes. And so we want to bring as strong a case as we can against as many of the offenders as we can. And we are doing that with all due speed. And the Attorney General is personally checking in with me every couple of hours, and she is extremely motivated to make sure that we do justice in this case.
Extremely motivated. Forgive me if I don't really respect Pam Bondi's definition of extremely motivated here. I haven't seen any sort of motivation going on here. One comment I want to highlight, cops stood outside doing nothing, says ball striker Bandito. They're not federal officers looking to enforce federal law. They can enforce state law, and that's what they're empowered to do. But if they're not familiar with the FACE Act, then they're not going to do something. Now, if there was a violation of a state law that is like the state counterpart to the FACE Act that was enacted in Minnesota, which I'm not a Minnesota attorney, I don't know, that could have been something there. Orty wants to chime in and say this is a federal holiday because Harmeet Dillon was speaking this past Monday on Newsmax. Magistrates works 24/7, 365. Weak-ass answer. Well, Orty, you got to get the facts gathered first before you can go for the warrant. You have to meet your burden to get the warrant. And if nobody was on the ground to investigate this, then it would be kind of a knee-jerk reaction to do so. So I gave you a second dose of Harmeet, pal. And now we get to the lies. But before we get to the lies, I got to do some grifting here. I got to say, everybody, thanks for tuning into the show. Everybody joining us right now. I hope that you're liking what you're hearing and that you're subscribing or liking or thumbs up, whatever you're doing, wherever you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, on Rumble, on X, on KLRN's feed. Shout out to our KLRN people. You guys are always awesome and love hanging out with you. Also, check us out at buffoonoftheweek.com. That is the official website for this channel. We got the website back up and running. You can check that out. And while you're there, we also have my book, Schnooks, Crooks, Liars, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons. That's available right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores. You can check that out at book.buffoonoftheweek.com. And we got merch. We got merch on the YouTube shop and also at shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. And now time for the lies. The first thing I want to go back to. Go ahead, Cal. Go ahead.
We should probably address the comment in the chat, because this is one of the things that is somebody that is the last one. Plenty of
here
video
about Bolshak and Bandidos, about plenty of video evidence. Are you serious? So let me explain what I mean by evidence gathering real quick, because one of the things you have to do is not only collect evidence, but you have to collect it in admissible form as well. If something's published publicly, you can't just tear it off the internet. You have to go back to whoever created the video. If it was not Don Lemon, for example, or if it was somebody else doing it, and you need to authenticate the video first. You need to make sure that it was done at the right time and go through metadata. You have to collect all this information. You also have to collect witness statements, identify the people who were there, interview them, get them to say things under oath about how they felt interfered with, how they felt intimidated. You have to go interview the pastor. If there are any cameras in the church itself that would show what was going on, or outside the church, you have to do your due diligence here. And then you have to take all of that. If you need to get warrants to, for instance, get some of Don Lemon's devices because he'll claim First Amendment protection and things like that. There's a whole bunch of rules that you have to follow in the administration of justice. And if you don't do it by the letter, then people will get off on charges. The perfect example of that to me is, what's his name? Alec Baldwin. The New Mexico prosecutors did a poor job in their evidence gathering, and because of that, the charges got dismissed when he ended up shooting Helena Hutchins in the face during filming of his Western. Perfect example of that. So you have to be very meticulous, methodical, and follow the rules.
Well, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I see this happening more and more, because you're seeing these things happen in real time, and everybody's like, it's right there. Why aren't they doing something? There is an entire forensic path that you have to follow to be able to do these things. Not to mention the fact that depending on where that church was and who their parent church is, they may have specific rules about, even though it's something that they may want to have looked into, they may actually still make the feds go get a warrant before they can get access to any cameras and stuff in the church, because a lot of churches will do that, even if it's something simple like trying to prove a robbery, because they have these long-standing policies of considering themselves sanctuaries. So this is one of the things that, having worn a badge and a gun before, drive me nuts. And I'm not trying to downplay anybody, talk smack or anything else. It's I'm just being as clear as I can, that I'm not trying to say that people aren't allowed to be angry, frustrated, or anything else. But even on our side, I've noticed this whole thing anymore of we want everything wrapped up in 42 minutes, not counting commercials. And to do it right, I mean, we saw just about a couple months ago, the Trump administration not doing it right. And because they were using somebody who actually overstayed their temporary status, they have to start over. So,
right. And you know, I saw mention of a FISA warrant in there that has to do with financial crimes. So I wouldn't apply that to this situation. Now we're going to get to the lies. I want to revisit a video that we played before, because it's going to be relevant now for purposes of catching the lie. So remember when Nakima Levy Armstrong was talking to Don Lemon about what was going on and why they were there? I want to find that video again, and I want to play it in her own words. I want you to listen to the beginning of this video one more time.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
Now, afterwards, after Harmeet Dillon and the feds are on their asses, I want you to listen to Nakima Levy Armstrong change her tune.
Correct something that was said in the beginning. We did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood and how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota. And instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor said, shame, shame. And that is when I led us in chants, justice for Renee Good and hands up, don't shoot.
So now she's claiming to be reacting to something that happened, not
I didn't
provoking
I didn't actually go there to start it, even though I said on camera that I went there to start it. Yeah, that's going to work. Sure.
Yeah, one more time for those in the back.
Doing this.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual. So that's where
I mean, my goodness. Talk
So-
about caught in a bald-faced lie.
Was she lying then, or was she lying later?
Well,
I'm
let's
going to go with
talk- Well, I'm going to go with later as well, because let's talk about the circumstances. Before anything happened in this church, she's talking with Don Lemon about what they're intending to do, free of any sort of consequence or perceived consequence from the federal government. After going on CNN with Harmeet Dillon now saying that we're looking into what happened here, now she's got to get her story straight to avoid any sort of federal criminal wrongdoing. That, to me, shows what you call, at least in civil litigation, scienter. In criminal law, it's called intent. She intended to go in there, wreck shop, disrupt things, and basically intended to break the law. By saying this, she's admitting to violation of the FACE Act. She's there as a disruptor. She's intending to disrupt. Bold-faced lie right there from Nakima Levy Armstrong. Something I'm sure that Harmeet Dillon and her team are hopefully looking at here.
Yeah, hopefully. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yes, keyword hopefully. Now, one of the other things that I want to point out is when Don Lemon was talking about, when he was interviewing the parishioner, Don Lemon was constantly saying, oh, I'm a journalist, I'm not with them. Let's remind everybody that was said as well.
Christian here that wants to praise the Lord with my son, and now I got to go home. I'm sorry that you guys are so angry.
I'm just chronicling. I'm not with the group.
I'm just chronicling. I'm not with the group. Now, I want you to listen to Don Lemon before this group entered the Baptist Church in Minnesota, and listen to the language here that he uses.
In Minneapolis a little bit ago, and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? Saw the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up, and it's Nakima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where they're going.
This is what we're doing. He included himself in them. I want to play that one more time. See if I can find the spot here where he says that again.
Dante Wright and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations again.
This is what we're doing. And after we do it,
Yeah, not after we cover. I mean, let's face it, most people that stand in front of a camera do use the royal we BS all the time. But he did say after we do this operation, not after we cover this operation. So yeah, I think he's just, SOL. I think he's gonna get slapped with the face in the face.
I don't know if he's SOL. And my legal analysis on this is still developing as evidence develops, so I'm going to withhold final conclusion here. But I will say this: by saying this is what we're doing and we're going to do this in that video, he has certainly opened the door to questioning how he knew about this organization, what he was told about his organization, what his role was with the organization. Was he just traveling with them? Does he clearly has sympathy for these people based upon the interview style he had with the pastor and the parishioner that we saw earlier. So this part of me wondering whether Don Lemon's personal bias against ICE, against Trump, against MAGA, against conservatives, and you see it dripping throughout all his videos, whether that personal bias may have bitten him on the ass. HM Hug in the chat saying he will get away with it, and we know why. I don't know if he's going to get away with anything. I don't know if he did anything to get away with, but the reason we know why is, well, I'll let you guys fill in the blanks on that one, and certainly. So yeah, that's where we're going to sort of leave things here, and I guess we'll. Well, no, actually, there's one more thing I want to show you, because I just want to show how batshit crazy the people in this Operation Pull-Up are. I don't know the name of this guy. I don't want to know the name of this guy. I don't care to know the name of this guy. But this is someone who identifies as one of the protesters at this Operation Pull-Up. And after the controversy following it and Harmeet Dillon's public comments, he had this to say at a press conference. And you'll see Nakima Levy-Armstrong there in the background with her. So clearly, he's somewhere there.
What we're seeing around this country is they're using their political influence to attack people that disagree with them. They're going to come at me with charges, and I'm not scared of that. There's no base for these charges. I did not block them from, their service. They welcomed us in. They never asked us to leave. The police never came in and removed us. So we didn't stop their service. In fact, people were still praying the entire time. The music was still playing the entire time.
It was a mostly peaceful protest, pal.
Oh yeah, sure it was. I mean, that's their line for everything, though, right? It's mostly peaceful. That was their whole thing during the Summer of Love. You've got reporters standing in front of cars on fire and buildings being torched, and yeah, it's mostly peaceful out here, Janet. Sure.
Well, here's the thing: when you characterize your own movement as a clandestine operation, meaning secret operation, and then you want to go after the fact and say, well, we were welcomed in with open arms. Yeah, maybe it was because you were clandestine. Maybe it was because you hid your true motives, as your organizer admitted. And as I'm sure that you all were briefed when you were having that pre-meeting outside where Don Lemon was sort of setting the stage for his video. So yeah, you were welcomed in, but your intent is what really matters here. Obviously, he's already batshit crazy. He's going to be even more so going forward.
So, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it. And for all the people giving me death threats, threatening my life, kill me. Go ahead, kill me. Because you know what? As Fred Hampton said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
Sir, this is a Denny's. We don't know who you are.
I was just going to say the progressive caveman's not doing so good these days.
Well, I want to know exactly who knows him, who threatens him. Are the people threatening you in the room right now, sir? What the? And then of course he has to mark out for himself, and he has to say, "This is the revolution. I'm a revolutionary, and this is revolution." Blah 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 blah. So stupid. Nobody cares, bro. Just put the fries in the bag.
Ding, fries are done.
Oh, America since 1776 saying rabble rouser and revolutionary. Absolutely. Robbie, I gotta get my glasses fixed. Robbie here. Robbie, I'm gonna lean in. This is not good for video. You know what? I can't. Robbie Yeet Headford 345. He needs a trip to the woodshed. After I got through your name, yeah, I agree. Yeah, this guy is cuckoo bananas.
I'm sad they don't let us use that in headlines at Twitchy anymore because I used to love to write articles about so and so gets a trip to the woodshed. They don't let us say that anymore. I'm so sad.
Why not?
Apparently, it had some
sold out. Twitchy sold out. That's what it is.
Racial tones. You know, they're
I'm
part of
sorry.
Salem. They're part of Salem now, so they have to behave. I guess
that is not racial coded. Stop it. But you know, listen, they don't want to get sued.
I don't know nothing.
Welcome to our PC culture, right? You can't even say things you want to say anymore. One thing that isn't PC though is, in addition to the FACE Act, Harmeet Dillon and the DOJ is also looking into whether or not there was a violation of the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871.
Dude, I was dumb when I saw that.
I can't believe I got to say that on YouTube.
Well, we'll find out for sure.
Wait, hang on. Am I still here?
I think so.
Okay, good. They're actually called the Enforcement Acts, by the way. That's the proper name for it. Colloquially known as what I said earlier. That act makes it a federal crime to deny any group or individual, and I'm quoting from the law here, any of the rights, privileges, or immunities or protection named in the Constitution, which would include, you guessed it, your First Amendment freedom of religion. So that's another law that they're looking into as well.
Dun, 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 dun.
So good for them in that aspect. The final and probably the most quirky thing about this whole thing is to add to the hullabaloo and the circus. And yes, if you had hullabaloo on your bingo card tonight, you can check it off. Nicki Minaj, that famed conservative out there, is actually going against Don Lemon here. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, but apparently there was a tweet out there from Nicki Minaj actually saying that Don Lemon is not so good things. I'm actually going to pull it up as we talk about it. But hey, Rick, did you have Nicki Minaj versus Don Lemon on your bingo card for 2026?
I did not. So I'm already going to have to refresh my bingo card. Boo.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive one. Actually, I found a story here from the Hollywood Reporter that I'm going to put up on the screen, and then we'll head to final thoughts after this. Folks, by the way, if you're hanging out with us as I'm sharing things and whatnot, if you like what you're hearing in this show, I hope that you like it. Please, give us a thumbs up wherever you're watching. Share the show with your friends and subscribe wherever you are. And yes, Singularity 82, that is a poster of Ronald Reagan behind me. It's actually a vintage poster from 1984, and you can't see it on there right now, but at the bottom it says it was made for the Brooklyn Republican Party. Little background on me. I used to be part of the Brooklyn Republican Party in the People's Republic of New York City. It was the first county in America that actually endorsed Ronald Reagan back in, I believe it was 1976. So he was always a friend of them. He actually had these posters made up just to be placed around Brooklyn, New York. And I think it's pretty damn cool. Let me get back to putting up this article from the Hollywood Reporter. We're going to remove that one first. And I'm going to change it out here. Give me 1 second. I wish I knew how all these buttons worked. I'm kind of being a little bad with it. Dead air, Gene. Dead air. Get to it. So we are going to share screen, and it's going to be the Hollywood Reporter tab, which is right here. And here is the article. Don Lemon claps back at Nicki Minaj for calling him homophobic slur over ICE protest report. Nicki got spicy. Quote, she's always weighing in on things that she doesn't know about. Welcome to America, Don Lemon. That's basically everybody. Nicki Minaj should just sit the F down, this loser said. Oh, boy, in his crushed velvet blazer here.
I mean,
Don
isn't a
Lemon is not
menage?
holding... Go ahead. Say again.
I would say, isn't a menage always spicy? Asking for a friend.
I mean, if you have to ask, then you probably don't know. Don Lemon is not holding back in his response to Nicki Minaj after she called him a homophobic slur over one of his reports on ICE protests in Minneapolis. The former CNN anchor, who, by the way, if you didn't know, is openly gay, went off on the rapper during an interview with TMZ, calling her a homophobic, bigoted, ignorant woman after she called him disgusting for his coverage. This is clearly out of her depth. She doesn't understand politics. She doesn't understand journalism. I mean, we could say the same thing about Don Lemon, but I digress. And I'm not surprised that she's weighing in on something that is beyond her capacity. Let me see if we can actually get to what Minaj said. Here we go. Minaj took to her X account to slam the journalist over the video, writing, in all caps, by the way, Don pee-pee sucking lemon, and she didn't write pee-pee, is disgusting. How dare you? Oh, I need my Greta Thunberg. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up. She also included a photo of Chucky in her post. I don't know what that's got to do with anything. But, Rick, I will say this. Prior to Nicki Minaj having her awakening in politics and siding against Don Lemon, I didn't really care about what Nicki Minaj thought. And now, after Nicki Minaj is out here bad-mouthing Don Lemon and what he did in that church, in that Baptist church in Minnesota, I don't care what Nicki Minaj really has to say.
Yeah, I don't really either. I like it when it's their side going after each other. That's been my favorite thing of so far 24, 25, and now the beginning of 26. Because you didn't used to see public infighting like this between them, and it's been fun to watch.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to watch. You got to get going here, pal. So I know you got another show to get to at 10 o'clock.
I do want to make one other quick comment, and I was going to respond in the chat, but I couldn't find this one there. To Singularity, there is no verifiable proof of what you just typed as far as the paragraph you just put in chat. There's no record of that.
I'll put it out there so everybody knows what we're talking about here, and I'll actually read it. Hey, and you can respond to it. Hey, Rick, did you know that Ronald Reagan and his team intentionally negotiated with the Iranian hostage takers to keep the hostages until he got elected so Carter would lose? One of his team admitted to it.
So just so you guys know, there was an extensive investigation into this in 92 and 93. Keep in mind who was in charge of most things in 92 and 93. And they found no bearing for that statement. So that's where I'm going to leave this part of it. But yeah, I do have to jump. We have Rick and Orton coming up next on my feed. So
right, and just real quick, if you have a final thought you want to leave with everybody, and plug KLRN Radio, you can check them out on X, folks. Give them all the information on how to find it.
So yeah, at KLRN Radio, X, Rumble, YouTube, all the places. We have a website too, klrnradio.com. Feel free to check out our schedule. It's not all politics all the time. We pattern it after AM radio, so there is a wide variety of content over there. The one coming up next is kind of a mix between politics and pop culture. And then as far as anything else, my final thought is, I'm just going to say it, Don Lemon's a dick. That's my final thought. There you go. And these protesters, I hope they put them under the jail when they're done with them. That's my final thought.
All right, my friend.
I had to take Ross's lane because Ross wasn't here. So
no, it's no problem. Listen, Ross hopefully will be back next week. He had a meeting tonight with an organization he's affiliated with, and I'm not going to put his business out in the street. But listen, thanks for pinch hitting for him. Go to your other show, and God bless. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us.
All right. My final thought for tonight as we leave this sour lemon ice backlash show is I'm okay with protesting. I'm okay with being loud in protesting. I'm okay with being confrontational in protesting. I am not okay with law breaking in protesting. And that's what we saw a lot of tonight. We saw a lot of instances of people breaking the law thinking that they're so privileged enough to protest because the First Amendment protects them, that they think they have unfettered access to everything. It's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And Don Lemon going around with a camera doing gonzo journalism a la those personalities on the right like Andy No and others out there who actually do it ethically needs to sit the fuck down himself. He wants to tell Nicki Minaj to sit down. You sit down, sir, because your credibility here is absolute zero. You are what I call in my book, and I'm going to pull it out here at the end because you guys are hanging out with it, Schnooks, Crooks, Liars, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons. That's available right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other fine bookstores. You are an agenda gymnast. You don't care about how you go about doing things. You just care about the end goal of your personal politics. You're also a journalistic hack that's also discussed in the book. You are pushing your own beautiful narrative for purposes of your own personal gain. Likes, views, shares. I do this as a hobby. You don't see me begging for money from people on here. If you want to if you think I'm giving you something of value, you want to do a super chat, awesome. I don't push it on the audience. You saw I was taking free chats from the audience the whole show. I also don't push you to buy my book, but if you find value in it, you can do that. I'm giving you something in return for your money. Don Lemon just wants to grift. He's a grifter in the worst sense because he doesn't care who he hurts as he's doing this grifting. Will he end up in jail? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not optimistic about the DOJ and the Pam Bondi. I do like Harmeet Dillon and what she does, and I hopefully think I have hope that she will do the right thing here. I just don't know if that will include Don Lemon. So that's where I'm going to leave off here. I'm sorry to be a little pessimistic about it, being a little black-pilled about it, but I think we've seen this so many times before where people of fame, and especially people of fame on the left, and especially people on fame on the left who are checking off the boxes in the what do they call it? What type of Olympics is it? In the what they call it? Not the minority Olympics, but they're talking about the Olympics of who is the most entitled to be protected, I guess, if you want to call it that. Yeah, he's in that sort of grifter group of, what color skin I am, what orientation I am, therefore you can't come at me and I have carte blanche to do what I want, including possibly breaking the law. That's kind of how it is, folks. Let's see what happens from here. I want to thank you for coming behind enemy lines with me. I'm Gene Berardelli. It's time to shut this sucker down. And as always, we're going to play out with our motherfucking anthem. You can keep going in the chat if you want to. We'll show it as the song plays. But until next week, from the People's Republic of New York, Gene Berardelli, behind enemy lines, we're out of here. Good night, folks.
We're not allowed, not without electoral.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Teeth, don't let them have sway. Conservative battalions walking them out, marching through the streets while the buffoons all shout. Move in the shadows, flag on my chest, repping my clan, putting faith to the test. Cause love pays blues behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rocking and roll. Cool in the chaos, but loud in the war. But loud in the war. This is our chance. If I ever stare with a smirk and a gaze, holding down the fort in this Democrat case.